All right, let's see. Is everybody online? Chairwoman Parati, are you on the line?
Yes, I am here.
Awesome. I think looks like there's quite a few folks online, so hopefully we have a quorum. Let's see.
Okay.
Do you?
6. I count 7 board members online.
Okay, yeah, we have a quorum. Oh, good, Mr. Sharma's on. He was okay.
And Deb, you're good to go with the meeting recording and everything? Let's see here. I think I said, yep. Deb, are you all set? I guess I will press record just to be on the safe side.
Oh boy, my hair.
It's showing recording, yeah, so I'm not sure.
Oh.
Is it? Yeah, I see it as recording.
Okay, then I will assume that she's, yep, I see it as well. All right, well.
Okay.
I couldn't get the microphone to work. Yes, I'm recording. I'm all set.
Thank you, Deb.
All right. Then at this point, I would like to call the February 23rd, 2026 meeting of the Board of Education, Newington Board of Education to order. The time is 7:01 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deb, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Mary Beatrice.
Here.
Sean Halloran.
Here.
Marissa Lindsay.
Here.
Timothy Newton.
Here.
Sam Sharma.
Here.
Brian Skibo. Dr. Gail Stanley.
Here.
Jessica Weaver.
Here.
I have everyone in attendance except Mr. Skibo.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to open up to for public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. If you're in the Google Meet, you can raise your hand to be recognized. I am not seeing any hands. So we can move on to the first item on our agenda, which is our budget workshop. I'll turn over to Dr. Bremmett.
Thank you very much. So I have prepared some updates to the slides that I've been doing all the way through our budget process. So let me get that on. And hopefully everyone can see the screen that now has questions, clarifications from February 18th and follow-up questions. Does that show to the board?
Yes.
Very good. I do have, at the request of some board members, I did invite A.D. Myers to the table this evening, just because there had been some questions arising about athletic fees. So I'm going to turn it over to him for some initial comments. Some of the things that the board asked for information about, we cannot access remotely. So some of these may have to be tabled till Wednesday evening, but there are a fair number of things that we can at least try to clear up tonight. So, Mr. Myers, if you wouldn't mind speaking to athletic fees and where they go to, and we'll start from there.
Of course. So the athletic fund is a part of the student activities fund. And more or less, that's where our fees from families go to, game tickets go to, where, we have our ice hockey program, which is a co-op. So payments from the other towns goes into that fund as well. And we use those fees to pay for our officials, supplies that aren't provided by the Board of Education, and other costs that come along our way, game workers. And these are things that more or less come in and go out, just to make sure that our daily operations can take place. One of the reasons that, we looked at a slight upgrade last year was, as if we hold on to a standard participation fee for 7 or 8 years, with inflation, a large portion of of these costs go to things that are rising every year. So officials' fees, we have to go off of what the CIAC established fee rate is. So we are obligated to pay those fees as they go, along with the equipment that adds into that. So the fees come in, we use those, we use that revenue to pay for the things that the athletic department needs outside of what the board provides.
Thank you. Does anyone have any follow-up questions on that piece? Mr. Newton. You unmute. Tim. All right, well, we can go to Miss Weaver and then Mr. Newton when he finds the mute button.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think we just wanted to know, given that we increased the athletic fees, we were wondering too, just not all games. We noticed, like, obviously basketball or football have those game entry ones, and if $5, you do it. You could get a good amount of especially given if we're really good, like we have been, getting some good amounts of dollars from those. And we were just wondering, just from like a budget perspective, we know that those sports also have concessions, and those ones goes to the boosters. No problem there. Just wondering too, especially when it's like, oh, the cheerleaders are at football or at basketball. Is that going to just solely like the officials, or is it going to basketball boosters or those kinds of things? Like, where is that money going? Because we know not all sports have the same requirements for charging at games, and then also attendance, and then also the kinds of officials. Because I know even like for swimming, like they're going to have some CIAC people for diving, but they're not charging. And so we just didn't know if that was like a sport by sport decision. Obviously just want to be equitable about whatever, but specifically the like the $5 entry free ones, we were just wondering if that went to boosters or for covering operating stuff.
No, so that none of the fees go to boosters.
Okay.
Those are fees that return back to the athletic department.
Okay.
And again, pay for our game workers, pay for security, pay for
Okay.
Additional coverage that we need. The concession stand is run by the boosters. That is something that we do not take over. So we do allow for those individuals to go. But again, the sports that we do choose to charge for, evening events, after 5:15 is usually what we go with.
Yep.
That is, again, every district looks at things differently. Some districts charge for volleyball. Some districts charge for everything after 3:45. So, some districts charge $10 and $5. Some districts, so it's kind of a district to district decision on, what kind of stance we want to take. Right now, we're football, wrestling, and basketballs, and those are the contests that we do charge for. Again, that's something that can be discussed if it was something that the district decided that we wanted to raise more revenue from ticket fees, from gate fees. That is something that we can dive into, but it's always kind of a juggling act of trying to be responsible, but then also trying to make sure that we're gaining the funds just to make sure we're staying at status quo.
No, absolutely. And honestly, we were like, okay, how much it comes from those two? Because we also know, obviously we don't want it to be kind of a a double hit on a lot of the parents that are, having to pay for our budget
Yeah.
in terms of their taxes and then also doing that. So more just was wondering kind of what that led to, but the security and all those kinds of things, helpful perspective. So thank you.
Thanks.
Just answered it.
Oh, okay. So you're all set. Okay. I guess so. Yeah, I think one of the question that we had based on the raising the athletic fees. So that last year we did that. So that is going into the activity fund. So it's not part of the operating budget, which is I think we should have known that last year. We probably did, but just that. Was it helpful, I guess, my question, to raise them? Are you finding that you're in more of a better position with funds that are required?
Yeah, I mean, we're meeting expectations. And again, the challenge and the one thing you never know is what you're going to get in regards to, you mentioned the ticket revenue. You can do well some years, you can do terribly others. A lot depends. I remember back to the Triple E days when we had to have our football games right after school, and there was really no revenue coming from those contests. So, what the increase does help with is, the supplies and things that do come about outside of what the board is able to provide. Unfortunately, stuff just costs a lot, and our officials are getting an increase every single year, and that's not something we can control. So you go to like a swim meet. I mean, again, we're getting 3 officials per event, right? And there's no revenue really coming in for those other than the participation fees that are used to pay for that stuff. But the goal is to try to make sure that everybody can, have a experience that they can enjoy. And again, it does help meet those expectations of what we need, while also being responsible with the money that we do spend.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe worth a look, not obviously it won't impact the budget currently, the operating budget that we're working on now, but maybe take a look at, what sports are using, because, football refs probably cost more, and you need the athletic trainer, and you need the EMT there, and police presence. So football is obviously more expensive sport. So it makes sense to charge there. Is wrestling one that, is it just because of the meet time, or is it because you have big tournaments like that? So I guess just maybe at some point, like a look of the different sports we have, if we do or do not charge admission fees, and maybe if there's a sport that's not charging it, but they have more expenses, then, I'm sure you've looked at it, but just kind of reassess.
Yeah, it's very challenging. I mean, again, we had charged for volleyball. At one point, it was brought up that it was felt that we shouldn't be charging for volleyball, so we stopped. Again, we can go many different ways. I guess it's what everybody would feel comfortable with charging or charging for, and then looking at what that revenue might offset. A lot of wrestling has just been an evening event. 6 o'clock meets kind of the standard. We don't make a ton of money on those meets, but it has been something that historically we have charged for as a district. So, we would kind of have to decide: is it something we're looking to add to, subtract from? Is there a standard that we would want to to follow? Is it any event that begins after a certain time do we charge for?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that those are the questions that I'm more than happy to take on guidance and go from, but every district kind of manages it differently. There's really no set standard of where it is. And especially now you're seeing different entry fees, where we've gotten all the way up to where it's $10 for an adult and $5 for a student. And that's just, that's kind of seems the direction that schools might be going. But again, that's a direction that they're comfortable with. So I'd be more than happy to speak at a later date if it's something that we would want to venture into as to what we would want to add to or subtract from if need be.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk further.
Similar to how sports are divided into seasons, and as Chris and I chatted about it over the weekend, it does vary district to district. So Newington may want to start looking at a different way of going about it. And there were questions too about the uniform replacement cycle, and Mr. Myers shared that due to bathing suits are covered by individual students because it's not something we can share year to year. Is that an accurate statement, Mr. Myers?
Yeah, that's been historically at the schools I was at previously in the last, 15 years I've been here. That has been a historical practice for swimming, just because it's a very personal item. So it's not something that would be carried year over year. Whereas the uniforms that we purchase come back to our program and then are reused, after being cleaned, obviously,
Subsequent years, yeah.
by individuals after.
The other question, and by the way, I apologize for the readability of this slide. I was editing it right up to the last minute. I will format it better, but it has been edited quite a bit today. Mr. Myers, can you also speak to, there was a question raised about line 119, which is the salary line for coaches. It's gone up significantly over the past few years. You and I spoke about it, and certainly every year our coaches get raises in accordance with the teacher's contract. We're not particularly competitive coach salary wise. We're on the lower end there. But I also, in a meeting I had after you and I spoke with CFO Bover, we realized that the athletic trainer has now been included in that line. Does that probably speak to some of that uptick?
If that's where those funds were placed, it definitely should be. Again, our coaches, we do have 63 paid staff members. So just so we do have 4 steps on the coaching scale. As they move up those steps, those are a little jump increases, along with those that are on the top step also get the raise that the contract calls for. So that will definitely account for a portion of the raise. Ms. Boisvert will probably be able to speak to a little bit more on the opposite side of the exact position that might impact it. I don't have the exact difference from one year to the next, but that is something that, just looking over the number of positions and what could be impacting, that's definitely going to impact an increase in that line.
And a more detailed look back, and that's why it's highlighted in yellow. We need access to some district-based reports that we can't get remotely. So to look through that with a more fine-tooth comb, which we can do, but we would need access to our Board of Ed technological accounts. But safe to say we have not added coaching positions at all. So these are just the impact of contractual, as well as we believe the inclusion of the athletic trainer, who used to be a contracted service, which fell into another line. I'll turn it to your board chair.
Yeah, Ms. Weaver, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we were just trying to figure out, we were like, oh, you see just bigger numbers, and we were like, oh, this just seems like a driver. But no, the explanation too of, I don't know why I wasn't thinking that they're part of the contract as well, just because I'm thinking they're getting stipends and not salaried. So yeah, we were saying in the past 2-3 years, it's gone up 120,000, and this year would be another 28,000 or something. And so we were just trying to figure out, and then we were doing the math, and we were like, oh, okay, so that's an average of 7,000 per coach. And we're like, we know some of the coaches, but we knew there were steps in between. And we were like, this math is not mathing the way we were thinking. But it's helpful to know too, because if you did it over and you divided it, we were looking at 475 per year of raise. But that's also if they all made the same. So totally understand too that somewhere we knew that there were steps, but just weren't sure about which steps there were. And then having that actual salary position in there also seems to be.
The big jump is going to be the trainer position for sure.
Yeah, that's a large portion of that. Okay.
Yes, that's good. That's going to be a big jump. Yeah. When we made that decision which has been a tremendous decision, and thank you to the board. It is really the gold standard in athletic training and high school athletics right now is having a athletic trainer that services only your school district, because there are plenty of schools out there that do not have service right now because they just don't have access to it. So, but that is definitely a leading cause to that huge rise the year before. The 28 is probably part, he's got a larger salary. So any raise that would go would probably be a little larger. And then when you spread that across, 63 different positions, the small increases will contribute to that.
Yes, we were like, okay, that makes sense now, but also helpful too to know the contractual obligations as well. That's just
Yeah.
good clarity. So thank you for entertaining our lovely questions. Appreciate
No worries. I promise. I'm not adding anything
We're
behind
not.
the
We're
scenes.
not suggesting.
I'm not
adding,
giving people roles. I promise.
No. We were like, we know, like, oh, these are certain. We were like, maybe we should be coaches, but then we were like, okay, we know these coaches are not making that, and we know plenty do this out of the goodness of their heart. So we appreciate all the coaching that is done. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, can you just clarify when we started budgeting for athletic trainer? Because I thought it was last year that he came.
He started last December.
Okay.
So it was after the
So-
budget was created that he
In
started.
24.
He was not in last year's budget, in that line. We were still using contracted services.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
599.
that explains, because we had allocated, I looked back, we allocated 366, but we actually spent 393. So that makes sense that he was not in the budget when we initially requested it. Okay. And then I just have another side question. And again, we can look at it like when Alio's available, but are there any coaches that coach more than one season, and are they getting two salaries of coaching?
No, so again, the one that does kind of roll over and have multiple seasons is cheerleading, and we have one set stipend. Looking at surrounding school districts, everybody kind of does it differently. Some do a 2-season stipend, some do a 1-season stipend. Just so you know, we actually pay it in half. So we pay the first stipend at the end, half of the stipend at the end of the fall, and half the stipend at the end of the winter. That's just how it has been, in process.
Okay.
Again, our salary scale for our coaches is on the lower end for the CCC, but when you go look at the contracts are accessible. If you go look at other districts, if there's a 2 stipend, or if it's a full stipend, the dollar amount equals about the same as to what we're compensating in relation to our coaching stipends. We just happen to list it as 1. We could split it into 2 and have it separate. We do pay it that way. But so if we wanted to make it clear, I don't know, because it's in the contract, I don't know what impact that would have. But we could, just so you know, we do pay it half and half, just to make sure that the coach isn't waiting in 7 months to receive their stipend. They do get half and half.
But it's one stipend over 2 seasons, when all other coaches is one stipend over 1 season. Same amount, same dollar amount.
So yeah. So if you look at it like relative to if we were going to compare a cheerleading stipend to other surrounding districts, the total amount coaching the 2 seasons is relatively the same. Like you might see somebody like where our stipend is, I think it's 64 or 65, somewhere around there. We might pay it 34 and 33 or whatever. Other districts might just list that as a fall and a winter, or they might just list 1 cheerleading stipend. So it kind of just depends on how we would want to go about listing it in the contract. But just so you're aware, we do pay it twice. We do pay it in separate installments for the benefit of the coach.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure, because the time and effort a coach puts into a season is obviously, a lot. And then for it to extend 2 seasons. And then I was, if they're only getting 1 stipend, then maybe the cheerleaders only have to pay 1 athletic fee if it's considered the same. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah. Thanks for explaining that. And yeah, once I think we do have the question just to look at by sport, the stipends, but that won't affect, it won't affect what it is currently. So
Right.
just
Would have to be-
curious.
It would have to come into play during contract
Contract.
negotiations. But that is certainly a viable area to look at for the next teacher negotiations.
Okay. Which will be this summer, right?
It will be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe just before then have that information provided.
There's a question on the table.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Sharma.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I know like each district is different, but could you just paint a picture for us about, I mean, which sport, like which coach are probably at the higher end getting a stipend, what that is, and which sport would be on the lower end in terms of the stipends?
So all this, so the stipends are in the contract, and our highest stipend would be our football position, and it's, you know, a lot of it's looked at just length of season, and then it breaks down. I don't have the contract in front of me, but you can see all of the individual stipends that break down in the contract, and that is something that's negotiated, you know, via the
Oh, okay.
negotiating process.
Oh yeah, so it's available in the contract. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yep.
each district. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
I can
On the
have the
athletic-
board, I can send the board the salaries for coach stipends as a follow-up, just so they have that.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
If I'm not mistaken, those are all the athletic director questions we had this evening, unless there are others. I figured as much as Mr. Myers enjoys our budget meetings, he doesn't need to have the entire experience.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for joining. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Myers, much appreciated.
Take care.
So moving along with the other questions, and again, apologies for the formatting. Anything in highlighted yellow, we're going to need more time for because of our access to the appropriate databases. So that would include the special ed tuition 5-year look back, the realized savings from last year, what really contributed to that. We did have a discussion about that this afternoon, and we did look in the benefits line last year was overfunded. So that was one of the pieces. But anything more in depth than that, besides what you already knew about paras, unfilled para positions, we want to do a deeper dive so it can be an accurate reflection. Budget drivers, same thing. Someone wanted me to send that list or create the list, and it's in my PowerPoint, but it's blank. They need the access to the district databases to create the budget drivers accurately. Year over year spending on outplacements. Actually, it looks like I wrote that twice, so covered that. And same with the pie charts. To get those done by school actually requires Tom Santoro, our data specialist, to create reports that would allow us to do it school by school. So that we would need a little more time to do that. Today, no one was in the office, so he was unable to work on that. Looks like there's a question.
Sam, did you have a question or was that from before? His hand had been raised.
Yeah, I think it's just, yeah.
All righty. The other items, getting back to the top of this list, is the impact on the non-lapsing fund, or an impact on the budget if the non-lapsing fund were to increase from 1 million to 2 million. I'll get into that in just a minute. We did put a question out to Janet, the town finance director, to ask her whether the non-lapsing fund is an interest-bearing account. We have not heard back from her yet. There have been no updates from our health insurance. Sadly, I don't think that's going to happen until after this budget season has concluded for the board. So those are the questions that we recall from meetings and follow-up meetings. If what I'll do now is tap into the budget reconciliation to just show you the impact of the non-lapsing fund being increased. Let me get this tab here. If we increase the non-lapsing fund by another $1 million, our budget would then be at 5.53%. And that includes everything that's above here, all the cuts that were made the other evening, as well as the insurance for paras and RBTs being included. reducing the time work bonus and reducing 4 building subs. That leaves us with an increase of 5.53%. So that is the impact of another $1 million. We don't know yet what our reliance this year will be on the non-lapsing fund. As a review, it was in a previous board meeting that we showed what our non-lapsing fund balance is. So currently it's at 3.898 million. If we were to plan for 2 million of that going to next year's budget, that would leave us 1.89 million for any shortfalls this year. So that is something that the board can be, right now there would be a balance in there to cover any shortfalls from this year. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, can you just remind me what our anticipated reliance was for this current budget?
I believe it was 2.7 million.
Okay, so we expected to use 2.7, but we don't think we're going to use
We
it
do
all.
not, with our current look at the budget, while we think there could be some need to tap into the non-lapsing, we absolutely don't think it'll be at the $2.7 million level. Otherwise, I would not, I would certainly caution the board that could be a decision that would not be a good idea. I would caution them against any more utilization because this, as we know, there's pros and cons to using the non-lapsing fund. At some point, a funding cliff does arise. But I just wanted to show that, remind the board of this current snapshot of the non-lapsing fund, and then the impact of adding another $1 million of non-lapsing fund offset. So there were, I also wanted to show the board, I created a few other slides, and unless the board chair wants me to go in any other direction, I have a few more slides to show the board.
No, you're talking about the correction that we need to make.
Yep. And then also the grants. There was a question about grants.
Maybe, yeah, go to the grants first and then,
You got it.
yeah.
Sorry. Don't get dizzy here. All right. Where did the grants go? Oh, I put them. My apologies. I added them to where the grants already are here. Here it is. This is what the board already knew. That grant utilization for salaries. The board already has seen this slide. I gave it a little more detail with the help of my business office. That certified teacher salaries include offsets from open choice, the SEED grant, which is a 2-year grant, and it's going to be in year 2 next year, Title I, and Perkins. Now, Perkins is a very small grant, and all it does is provide for some stipends for some of our CTE teachers at the high school for some of the extra responsibilities they have. So that's 21.3 positions and a few stipends over all of those grants. The IDEA grant helps to offset one administrator, a special ed administrator. The special ed paras are also offset by both the IDEA grant and the SEED grant for the one particular program. Our chief of strategy, innovation, and culture for equity is offset by the open choice monies. So that this number has not changed from the other night. I've just simply added more detail. So about 55, sorry, my eyes are going bad here. 53.3 positions are grant offset to the total of 2.7 million. Where we added an additional slide is here, where we use some other offsets. So the Effective School Solutions program has a $100,000 offset from IDEA. Medicaid reimbursement is charged to the 599 line at an offset of 55,000. The excess cost grant is applied to the outplacement line at 1.7 million. So these additional grants, not for positions, but to offset programs or lines, is 1.855 million. And as the board is aware, we did lose some grant funding this year for this social emotional learning counselor at the high school and the school-based health center grant. Those grants both sunsetted this year. It's important to note too that while title monies have more than just what you're seeing here, we don't use them as offsets to the budget. Rather, those in charge of the title grants, such as Ms. Freeman and Ms. Lawrence, they use that money to pay for different supplies and trainings, and we never put them in the board budget at all. We just say, we know that this title grant will offset some of the cost of, not even offset, will cover the cost of these trainings. Therefore, they never make an appearance in the board budget. They're just written into the grant, typically reading trainings and other things, ML trainings. So those do not make their way into the board budget because they're simply written to be paid for out of that grant directly, if that makes sense.
Okay. Are there questions on grants? Ms. Beatrice?
Just a quick question about the Medicare reimbursement of $55,000. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
Sure. There are some services provided by special education staff that we can bill to Medicare. That includes speech and language services, psychology services, OT, PT services. So we use an outside vendor to assist with this. It's a very cumbersome, somewhat rule-laden process. So we bill it up to a association called Kinney Associates. They do all the numbers for us, send it in, and from that entire process, we net $55,000. Unfortunately, the state takes a huge chunk of that, and there are a lot of rules. We are exploring one area that we have not typically billed for, that we are going to run some simulations to see if it would be worthwhile, is transportation. Some special ed transportation can be billed back to Medicare. So it's a small pot of money, but 55,000 is close to a teaching position or a para and a half. So we feel it's worth the effort to move forward with it, even though we bill for a lot of services, but get this small portion in return.
Great. Thank you so much.
Lynn, did you have something to add?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify, it's Medicaid, not Medicare.
Medicaid. Okay. Sam, do you have your hand up?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to take it down.
Okay. Ms. Weaver?
Yeah, thanks so much for this. Really appreciate just giving that. And just to clarify, the SAID grant is not necessarily guaranteed. I know it's kind of by the legislature and a new kind of thing, but we are anticipating this year, but not necessarily guaranteed next year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
We're advocating for additional resources, but this is only guaranteed for one more year.
Okay. Thank you. Just want to clarify. Appreciate
Absolutely. Mhm.
Do you have an anticipated reimbursement amount for billing Medicaid for transportation? Like, do you have any, like, is it going to be another like $20,000 or could it be like significant?
I know we were going, I don't know if Marilena's on the line or not. Lynn and Marilena were going to work together to kind of run some simulations to see if the net was worth what, because we would have to now have bus drivers document routes. Lynn or Marilena, were you able to begin that process or you're still pending?
That is still pending.
Okay.
So what we've put in here is an offset that is what we know to be true for the services that we've billed for this year. There could be, if transportation works out, and we will keep the board posted, there may be opportunity to see some more resources there.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I just like, without any information. Like it's a great idea, and I think definitely pursue it and see what the thanks, Gail. See what we can get from it, and yeah, if it makes sense net wise, like if it's
Right.
too much effort than we're getting for it. But
We did talk to Dean Barnes about it, and he feels his drivers can handle it. There's some challenges with, oh, you know what? Let me let Marilyn
go for
explain
it.
it. This is her area of expertise.
Hi, everybody. So there's two parts to the Medicaid reimbursement. One is the actual billing. Then there's something that is called the random moment study. And the district is penalized if our staff doesn't answer this random moment study within a certain amount of time. Our bus drivers have such wonky hours. You know, they don't have a computer, they don't look at their emails like we do. So we're looking at a system as like, how can we alert them that they have to check their emails, that they have to answer this random moment? Because if we're making money on one end, but then we're going to get dinged on the other end for not answering this random moment study, we don't know what that's going to do to us. So we're working on, number one, finding out how many Medicaid eligible students we have. Number two, if we could do kind of like a pilot and see, you know, what our return on investment is going to be, and if there's a way that we can work on notifying them so that they're aware of this random moment study and that they have to answer those questions. And if there's, you know, a way that we can be alerted at the same time that they're alerted, so we can let them know. So we're working on it. It's taking a little bit of time on the back end of it to get it up and running. And I do want to maybe reach out to some other districts who are doing it to see if maybe they have a good system in place. The difference is that we have our own transportation company, so they might be able to do it through a third party. So we will definitely, we're looking into it, and hopefully we'll have some information for you very soon.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Beatrice?
Marlene, you may have touched on the question that I'm actually going to ask, is whether or not that would require any additional training, staffing, or equipment resources that we might have to spend on to meet the requirements of that grant.
Yes, and it's not, it's mostly time, and because there's no extra resources. I don't know if the bus drivers get laptops, so that we would just have to make sure that they would have, when they come back to the bus yard, they would have access to a laptop, because the random moment study needs to be answered 48 hours after you get the email. So they would most likely be in the office within those 48 hours. So we might just have to have a couple of computers set up for them so that they can go in and they can just check their emails, you know, on a weekly basis or something like that.
Okay, yeah, we look forward to hearing more about that. And do you have any sort of, like, are we talking another 20,000 or like what? You have no idea?
No, I honestly, like Dr. Brummett said, the moneymaker is the state.
Yeah.
So if you look at what we bill out and what we actually make back, it's a very small portion. And transportation is such a small, like, transportation happens daily, but you know, within Newington, it's a couple of miles. So it'll be interesting to see how the numbers will pan out. Like I said, I want to talk to some other districts to see if they already have those numbers, to see if it's something that, you know, is worth investing our time and energy in.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Thank you for
Well,
taking that on. Okay. Who is
It's Brian.
has their hand? Was that you, Tim?
No, it's Brian. Brian
Oh.
can't come out on a name, but Brian's been online. He's trying to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Or maybe he's just letting you know he's there. He just
Oh.
got his camera.
Yeah, Gail put it in the chat. 7:39. Okay. Don't want to.
Question?
Yeah, I don't know. If you have a question, go for it. If not, we can move on. Mr. Holleran.
Thanks. Do we know when these grants might realize themselves throughout 26, 27, beginning of the year, end of year, mid-year? Is there any delay in these grant monies?
Right now, in terms of the federal government grants,
Yes.
we have been alerted that they are coming in at or slightly above what they were this year. We do not anticipate any delays.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Should I proceed to the slide about the error from last evening, the last board meeting?
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of last board meeting, it was brought to our attention, Karen Sear with her very good eagle eye, noticed that when the board was looking at a final figure, what happened was that an item was added back into the budget as a duplicate versus taken away. So it's a good error. It's not making our budget higher, it's making it lower. But what the board voted on, the top bullet of 97,698,403, was a 6.64% increase. What it should have been was 97,682,153, or a 6.62% increase. We noted that an item was duplicated. It's $16,250. It's team stipends and informal and formal mentors, module readers, and contracted services. So the formula that we have on that reconciliation page added it instead of subtracted it. So luckily it makes the budget slightly smaller, but the board was actually voting on the wrong amount. Slightly wrong amount, but still accuracy is very important.
Yeah, so I think just to keep the record straight and clear, we should make a motion to correct the adjustment. So essentially, I guess would the motion have to say lower that previous request by 16,250?
Or even just a correction. It's
Okay.
same exact items, it's just a correction.
Okay. Okay, so correct because this is when we cut all those items that were on the sheet.
Correct.
As presented. Yeah.
That's correct.
So go ahead, Ms. Weaver.
You want me to make the motion?
Yeah, go for it.
Motion to correct the adopted budget for 2026-2027 from 97,698,403, a 6.64% increase, to 97,682,153, or a 6.62 increase.
Second.
And just for clarification, it was the budget that we like the cuts that we were making to the adopted budget. I don't know if that needs to be specified.
It was just the initial budget.
It was the cuts that we
It
made.
was inclusive of all the cuts made to date.
It should be that it's still our adopted budget, so we're just adjusting our adopted budget right now, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, so we're voting to make the correction that's presented on the screen currently. We do a roll call vote.
Mary Beatrice,
Yes.
Sean Halloran,
Yes.
Marissa Lenzi,
Yes.
Timothy Newton,
Yes.
Amy Parati,
Yes.
Brian Skibo,
Thumbs up.
Sam Sharma,
Yes.
Dr. Gail Stanley,
Yes.
Jessica Weaver.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously 9-0.
Okay. For the record, name not available is Brian Skibo. Thank you.
So what I did in light of that change, but also just so the board can see the progression of the budget that they've been working on and adopting. When the board took over the budget the other evening, it was at 7.23%, which included the para impact after all of the cuts and adjustments made at the last meeting of February 18th. And now this is the correct figure. The budget has now reduced to 6.62%. And this slide just shows you the progression from when we first started at the superintendent administrator level to present. So I just illuminated that for the board.
Okay.
And really now I'll bring this up for, let me see if I can get to this. The next thing the board can look at is the impact, if they so choose, of the non-lapsing fund. I've put up the reconciliation chart, which puts in blue what the additional use of the non-lapsing fund would do to the budget. So $1 million offset. It appears we would probably offset the big five programs, the academic big five salary programs, and it would reduce the budget to $96,682,153 with a 5.53% increase overall. And this, if you're curious as to how this compares year to year, Ms. Bover put over here in the white section that last year's budget ended at $91,613,371, and this year would be $96,682,153. It's a $5,068,782 increase, or 5.53%. So I will turn it back over to board chair for any further discussion on the budget.
Okay. So just before we talk about this, I did also just want to bring up the fact that we don't know, or we won't know until after April, if the school-based health center is going to be included in the budget, if we're going to get the grant for the school-based health center. Mr. Turco has requested funding through the state legislation, but he's not sure if it will happen. If he does succeed, it will be for this year only, and we'd still have to find funding for next year. So that's something that I would like the board to consider including in this year's budget, just so we can guarantee that we'll have that open for the community, because we saw the benefits of it, and it is servicing a significant number of students. And then the other thing that we've talked about is the Nor'easter Academy, where we have a grant out and we don't know if for $100,000, and we don't know if we'll get that again till after the budget season is over. So those are two things that I would like to just open for discussion if we want to think about adding that in. And we could do it one of two ways. We could increase just the ask from the town, or we could, as long as Dr. Brummett and Ms. Bover think it's appropriate, we could take an additional, is it
$260,000 to run the school-based health center as it currently runs, and to have the Nor'easter Academy funded at $100,000. If that were to be added to the board's budget, it would put the budget up to 5.82% to add $260,000.
Yep. So board budget, or utilizing additional non-lapsing.
Yeah, that would put another $260,000 in a non-lapsing offset.
So are there any comments, Mr. Holleran?
If we were to add the health center and the Nor'easter Academy into the budget, and those grants do come through, is there a way to return some of that funds back to the town? Is there a mechanism for that at all? Or is that just going to go in the non-lapsing?
We can do whatever we want. If we if we want to give it to the town, we can.
Once they allocate it to us, it is ours to keep. Now, the board could choose to return it at the end of the year if it remains unutilized. That might be where the non-lapsing fund option may be a little bit cleaner, but again, we won't, I believe from our conversations with Representative Turco, as well as my understanding from the budget, the grant that would offset the Nor'easter Academy, we're not going to have information on that till April, May, or June.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Stanley?
I don't know. I feel like I have to speak for the student health clinics. I think they're incredibly valuable for our students and ensuring access to care that they need, and hopefully getting the immunizations like a flu shot and making that easier and removing barriers. And so I really want us to at least support the student clinics. I'm not against the Northeastern Academy. I just need some more information about utilization. But I would not be opposed to funding both for this year, and then having information about how much the non-lapsing or how much the student healthcare clinic actually gets, and what our responsibilities are for the Nor'easter. They seem like minimal asks, but with high impact for our students.
Thank you. Mr. Newton?
I just want to say that I think that we need to have if that money comes back, we get the grants. Why can't we pigeonhole that in the non-lapsing fund for next year, knowing that we have it for next year? And we wouldn't have to be drawing again this year. If they get the grants, that's 200,000, 150,000, whatever the doc gets. We're saying, Sean said return it. I'm saying keep it, and we keep it for next year if the same situation comes up. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think if we got the grants, it would just go into our operating fund, and then there would be that money that we'd have to reallocate and potentially reallocate it back to non-lapsing.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Ms. Beatrice?
Just really, really quickly, I second everything Dr. Stanley said. I think it's a really, really important service that we provide to our community that keeps everybody in our buildings as healthy as possible, and ultimately in class as and learning instead of out due for things that may be a little bit preventable. So I agree fully with Dr. Stanley, and would like us to consider keeping it as an item.
Go ahead, Dr. Stanley.
Just to clarify, are these like 1-year grants that we're applying for?
Yeah, what Mr. Turco is working on is just a allocation from the state, like included in the budget, not guaranteed. And it would be he indicated it would be a one-time funding. It's not sustainable. The Nor'easter Academy grant, Dr. Brema, you've applied for it last year and this year, and potentially it is ongoing, but you have to apply every year.
I have been applying every year. We've been successful for the last two grant cycles.
Yeah.
So fingers are crossed. We submitted it. Quick update on impact. At least 30 students per year participate in the Nor'easter Academy. For children or young adults who have anxiety or school avoidance. They're not special education, but they're kids who do struggle with attending school for the full day for a host of reasons. And it does provide them with very intensive small group instruction. And it's completely run by our own NHS staff. I shouldn't say that. A couple of middle school teachers also work in that, but they're all certified in the area in which they're teaching. There's a social worker on site. So they're getting a lot of very supported services during that afternoon hour. So the program runs 2:30 to 5 Monday through Thursday. And some of the more costly items, frankly, are the transportation, because the kids have their own bus run at the end of the day. They're transported in an after-school run. And some kids are able to do both the regular school day for part of their day, but need that Nor'easter Academy for some of their coursework because they can only tolerate a portion of the day. So I would at least 30 kids. On average, they're earning 60 credits a semester, and it is really helping these students to graduate on time and meet with some success, where previously these are students who are behind on credits, and the more behind kids that get on credits, they're at risk of dropout.
Thanks. Dr. Stanley?
That was my question, Maureen. If you had a general sense about how often these patients, oh my gosh, I'm still at work, I'm so sorry. How often these students are graduating, if they're successfully completing this academy, and it sounds like it is a good success.
They are.
Yeah.
We've had kids who have given us testimonials that without this, they would not have graduated on time. So I would say it's capturing some of our most at-risk kids, but are not special ed.
Yeah.
It's a program near and dear to my heart. I do think it's a good program. I just was putting it out there as not in the budget right now, just because we were trying to put forth a reasonable budget. But certainly I support this program very, very highly, as do our high school folks.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to include in our budget. And then if we get the grants back, move those funds to the non-lapsing with potential to use that as a more sustainable way to fund it the next time. But those are just my thoughts.
Okay, so your suggestion is to add it into the budget, ask for that from the town.
Yep.
Okay. Ms. Weaver?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I think, echo those sentiments. Obviously, really impactful ones. And I think, how much was the utilization for the school-based health center? I know I asked that and I got the answer. I think it was.
I would need to get you the most current, but I will tell you that the 4 days a week the social worker is there, and 2 days a week the APRN is there. They are nonstop busy, so they are fully utilized. But I do our agency that we work with, who IHC Integrated Health Services, they oversee it. They can get me some current statistics. And when I told them that the board was considering putting it in their budget, they were elated. So I will see if I can get some statistics for the board in time for Wednesday night's meeting.
That'd be great. Yeah, I just know, we obviously hear about it, but from anecdotally, but it's always good just to put some numbers to that. And yeah, would echo that. I think, yeah, these are impactful programs. Though I do really like this number. I think just wanted to say thank you once more while I'm on my soapbox here of getting it down to that and looking at the actual budget increase of the $5,068,000. That's 1.6 of that is the para benefits.
Correct.
So that I'm not saying, oh, that's not whatever, but to do that and have it less than last year, but still adding in para benefits is definitely something I support as well. So using more of the non-lapsing for that, but then also making sure that we're continuing current programming, I would think would be great. So yeah, just wanted to echo those sentiments and appreciate that. And one further question on that too was, I know from a space standpoint, we're fine at the high school. I know we had talked about even expanding that, but that obviously has some considerations. Was just curious though, are we in contact with DPH about this? Because I know there's like a school-based health center network or advisory council and all these things. That seems to be kind of very hodgepodge here. There's, Madison and then Waterbury and then Branford and Hartford. So it doesn't seem like it's necessarily a urban suburban divide, but was just curious too, if we're a part of that network too, and if DPH was looking to put funding in, or if you'd heard anything on that.
Yes, DPH absolutely is involved because they had to give their blessing to approve these clinics, both the mental health component and the medical component. And Integrated Health Services is on all of those boards. So we have met with them. I meet with them monthly to continue the discussion about funding sources. And it's a great group of leaders from Integrated Health Services. They've been unbelievable to work with. And we put our heads together all the time. So there's still, besides what Representative Turco is trying to accomplish, we are still looking at under every possible avenue for funding. So as always, I'll keep the board fully informed if we are able to tap into any other funding opportunities.
Thank you.
Mr. Holleran?
Yeah, I just want to say that I agree with Dr. Stanley. I think especially the health center is a vital service. And I think the Nor'easter Academy serves a population of students who might otherwise not be able to graduate. And, you know, that does meet our mission as NPS, is to make sure that we are looking at every student and providing every opportunity and giving them opportunities to do so. So I would be in agreement with putting them in the budget. And if we get the grants, even better, but I think we should make sure that we count on those services.
Thanks. Miss Lindsay?
Yeah, I heard so many good things about the academy. I know it came in just after my child left, and my child definitely would have benefited from it. But yeah, that program is amazing. I definitely think we should be funding it.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I mean, it does seem it's the sustainable way to budget for them. We have the money in elapsing, but we may not always have it. So I think if that's something that we're all in agreement with, we can put that motion on the table. I guess my question is, we have one more meeting before we have to officially transmit it over to the town. Are there any other things or questions or anything that's prohibiting us from doing that tonight? Or is there a possibility we should, like, just, I guess I'll open it up again. Is there anything outstanding still that we're thinking might impact some changes that we would want to make? Oh, Ms. Freeman.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Brummett and Ms. Bover, I apologize that I have not gotten in touch with you, though I just sent you an email. I just got off the phone with Sarah Whalen, who's the coordinator of ELA. It's not enough to buy a bus, but there can be a reduction in supplies between reading and ELA for a total of $23,935. I don't know if you want me to I sent a Google Doc to Dr. Brummett, Ms. Bover, and Ms. Sear. I don't know if you want me to display it on the screen so people can see where that money is coming from.
You're on mute, Maureen. Hold on.
No.
Let me pull it from my email. I just saw it come in.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
And I apologize for the last minute.
No. Keep them coming.
Yeah. Yes. You could find money, then we will gladly consider it.
I'd love to tell you that my phone continues to ring off the hook, but no.
Miss Weaver, while she's pulling it up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe just wait for a couple of the last minute questions. I just want to make sure staff has that. I would be good with adopting night, but I feel wrong like doing it in person sometimes, but I want to make sure too, in light of recent late breaking events, there's some time too. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
I think, and I just wanted to clarify too with folks where their comfortability was at with the addition of the two programming that we're supporting. Would that be out of the non-lapsing or or adding it to a 5.8? But then that number would be moot actually, because we're going to decrease.
Yeah, I think, a few people have said out of the
non-lapsing. Okay.
No, not the non-lapsing.
No.
The budget, put it into the budget itself. So increase our ask. That way it's more sustainable for next year. It'll be already in there.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to give staff more time if there are any available more cuts, just given some of the questions on that. Just want to make sure we have all of the answers before, and want to respect that. There's a lot of mountains of snow out there that are preventing any final ones, but would love to decrease again. This is great. Thank you to our staff once more with late breaking, but I am amenable to if folks want to do other things. And you're on mute.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to, we want to make sure the calculations are 100% too. So if we maybe take this, add it to the spreadsheet, and then vote on it next time, and then we can have each line item as well for the school-based health center and the Nor'easter Academy funding that we talked about.
Very good. We'll come prepared with those components and some appropriate motions. And as always, you never know what's going to happen between now and Wednesday. It
2
seems like
days.
this is late breaking news.
Say thank you to Sarah, please, Kristen, for us. Thank you.
And I do just want to, I don't know if we stated it in the meeting. Well, we didn't because it came up last meeting, but Dr. Brummett, there was talk of reducing contracted services if we have paraeducator benefits in the funding, but the recommendation is not to reduce that any further, or not to reduce it at all, just because we don't know for sure exactly what is going to happen, and we want to make sure that we're able to get paras as needed, just to support our students, especially those with those IEP requirements. Is that correct?
That's correct. You know, we certainly are behind the 8 ball here in Newington without benefits, but statewide, paras are always hard to come by, so we don't want to limit our access to contracted services, as it still might become a need even with the para benefits. So we would appreciate leaving that item, line item whole at this time.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions to discuss tonight? I think we'll just hold off on the additional changes, and we'll do that hopefully in person on Wednesday. Hopefully there's no more snow. You're on mute, Miss Dr. Brummett.
Please don't jinx us, Amy.
Yeah, I was saying some prayers when I was muted about no more snow.
There's some on Wednesday morning, but okay.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, so I'll turn it back over to public participation. If there's anyone in the Google Meet who wants to speak on any matter related to board responsibilities, please raise your hand to be recognized. Mr. Phelps.
Amy, thank you. My name is Mike Phelps. I live at 108 Tremont Street in Newington. I think one thing I was looking to ask, and I know it's typical not for response, but I didn't see the budget worksheet or the workbook published with this year's budget online. It was last year. I will say it's helpful to look through and kind of ask questions on or get a lay of the land with that very, very large document that outlines all of the expenses and, you know, meeting format. So I was hoping that would still be made available this year. And I think in regards to the para presentation, like I am in support of, you know, giving benefits for paras. I think that would be a great adjustment. I thought there was quite a bit of work done to show the differences among several districts. I think one thing I was kind of curious on, and I didn't see it explained in an earlier meeting, was how exactly the benefits coverage was determined. Because I know it was referenced in the presentation, and then it was there was some highlights on the 4th, the February 4th meeting. But it seemed different. The amount different is, I want to say it was like $1.68 million difference for the budget with and without para benefits, but the spreadsheet outlining the cost of the benefits said it was 1.4. So I wasn't sure what the difference in that was. And I think that's it. I thank you all for, you know, volunteering and spending your time this. I know it's a lot of work, and it is your time is appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll get you answers to your questions.
Thanks.
I believe we have your email. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Remarks by board members? Ms. Weaver?
Obligatory gratitude for all of you guys. Thank you so much. And obviously working through literally, I mean, sleet, rain, snow, as the post office goes, so do our school administrators and our staff. So thank you for continuing to find dollars. appreciate that, and continued gratitude to my fellow board members for us to continue to look at this budget with a lot of granularity and being able to try and find more dollars wherever we can find that. And especially to our wonderful CFO, Lynn, thank you for finding all of the margins that I think are very much necessary. So just want to say thank you again. I'm looking forward to, of course, hearing, I'm sure we'll find another couple, just given the efficiency of this team lately. But looking forward to Wednesday and working with everyone to pass on our final budget request on Wednesday. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Mr. Holleran?
Same. I just wanted to express my gratitude for everybody who's helped look at this, even late breaking 23 grand we're able to find, which is pretty amazing. I know these nights can be long and there's a lot of them, and I miss our student reps, right? I do. I'd like to get back to quote unquote normal board meetings after budget season. But thank you to everybody in central office for all the hard work that we've done in asking for all of our crazy requests and digging deep and looking back at historical use versus actual use and the actual budget. It is a lot of work. And I think that just goes to show that it is a very hard balance to strike between being responsible with the town's money, but also giving the students the support that they need to be successful and to maintain our high level of education. And somehow we try to find that way every day. We're not done yet. Still, we have to reconcile after it goes to the town. So we got work ahead of us. But I think this has been a pretty unified board. And just want to thank everybody because it is a new board. And I think we've really had some good discussions and really found some common ground to do the right thing for the population that we're elected to serve. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Dr. Stanley?
I just want to say thank you, Maureen and Lynn and everybody else on the administrators for working so hard on answering most of our questions. I know it was short notice from the weekend and everybody is home. And so I just wanted to show that I appreciate everybody doing such hard work on this blizzard day. And I appreciate all of our discussions on the board. And I think we've made some wonderful progress. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this board.
Thank you. Mr. Sharma?
Hey, I just want to thank everyone, Lynn, Maureen, everyone for the great work. I mean, just looking at the budget book, I remember previous years used to be like a humongous book, and now it's like so, it's concise and it's more efficient. So thank you so much, and I appreciate all the hard work.
Mr. Newton?
Yeah, like Sam said, this is not my first run. I haven't been here a long time, but this is by far the most transparent budget I've seen. And I think it's important, like Mr. Phelps requested, that we post it online when we have the finished product, maybe, so that the citizens of our town know where it's going and know what we're spending and know why we made the decisions we made. And the more transparency just helps us all in the long run. So I want to say thank you to everybody, especially the board, for the work they did. Thank you.
Ms. Beatrice?
I also want to thank Dr. Brummett and Lynn and your teams for giving us the tools that we need to put forth a responsible budget. One of the things I'm most proud about, though, is that we are recognizing our paras and the immense contributions that they make to the success of our students. So it gives me great pride to put a budget together that does recognize the incredible hard work that our staff does, and that doesn't in any way compromise the wonderful education and support that we give to our students. So thank you to Dr. Brummett and your administrative team, and also to the board as a whole. It's really been a pleasure to work with you on this, and hoping we can go forward with this budget as it is.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll echo what everyone else has said, but especially the collaboration with administration and with the board members. I think just all of us have really worked well together, and hopefully Wednesday is just a cut some, add some maybe, and then pass it along. But a very, very good, it's been really collaborative, and I really appreciate the work that everyone has put into the process so far. And we will have to have probably some tough conversations moving forward once we hand it over to the town, but we'll take those as they come. And then just want to say that unfortunately we have another snow day tomorrow. We will be setting graduation date on Wednesday, still TBD, but as of now, our last day of school is Monday, the 20 something of June, which is unfortunate. 22nd. I know there's a lot of chatter online and people, worried about summer camp and that stuff. But Dr. Brummett, I had asked her she had a call out already, but to reach out to Parks and Rec, and Parks and Rec will work with the school schedule and make the necessary changes so that everyone will be able to benefit from school and summer camp. So just wanted to put that out there, but hope everyone enjoys the snow day tomorrow, and hopefully that's the last one, but I'll knock on wood.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Thanks, Brian. All right, have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Say more.
Thanks, Dan.